that stuff.
So if, for instance, he doesn't fight this guy, who would you like to see him fight? Or are you going to wait until he fights this guy?
I don't know. We'll see how this thing plays out over the next couple weeks. But yeah, if we can't get this fight done, we'll move on quickly.
UFC President Dana White dropped a bombshell on Jon Jones regarding the long-stalled heavyweight title unification clash with Tom Aspinall. Speaking bluntly on the Jim Rome show, White didn't mince words. If we can't get this fight done, we'll move on quickly. The message was loud and clear, and it's now reverberating across the MMA world. With Jones remaining silent for months, the pressure is mounting. Fans, fighters, and UFC executives alike are growing restless, demanding clarity. The clock is ticking.
Because I know you're sick of the question. Does Jon Jones not want to fight, or does Jon Jones just not want to fight Tom Aspinall?
Listen, Jon Jones has been an interesting human being to deal with since the day he got here. But I will say this about him. Jon Jones has never turned down an opponent here or been afraid to fight anybody.
If, for instance, he doesn't fight this guy, who would you like to see him fight? Or are you going to wait until he fights this guy?
I don't know. We'll see how this thing plays out over the next couple weeks. But yeah, if we can't get this fight done, we'll move on quickly.
How long are you going to wait? I mean, how long is it worth waiting for?
I said a couple weeks.
Couple weeks?
We'll have answers in the next couple weeks.
For the longest time, this fight seemed inevitable. The legendary Jon Bones Jones, considered by many as the greatest of all time, facing off against the hungry, dangerous interim champ Tom Aspinall in a clash for undisputed greatness. But after months of speculation, social media hints, and complete silence from Jones's camp, it's clear the UFC is done playing games.
In boxing, you got a million divisions and you got 5 or 6 champions at each weight. I think there should be like one face, one name every division. I obviously want it to be me, whereas Jon's like doing some weird stuff about it. Like I say, the problem isn't with Jon. The problem is the fact that he's sitting on the belt and not doing anything.
Tom Aspinall has held the interim heavyweight title since his jaw-dropping first-round knockout win over Sergei Pavlovich in November 2023. He followed that up with an even more dominant performance, finishing Curtis Blaydes in just one round in July 2024. That victory cemented him not just as interim champ, but as one of the most dangerous men in the division. Yet despite his accomplishments, Aspinall remains in limbo, stuck waiting for a title unification bout that's long overdue.
I see a lot of people, comparing me to Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler waited for a long time for Conor McGregor and stuff like that. Great. I'm not looking to fight Jon Jones. I'm looking to fight for the undisputed heavyweight champion. That's what I want to be. I want to be the UFC undisputed heavyweight champion.
Meanwhile, Jon Jones returned to the octagon in late 2024 and defeated Stipe Miocic in what many considered a legacy fight. Since then, he's gone dark. No callouts, no contracts signed, no indication of when or if he plans to fight again. Rumors have swirled ever since. Was Jones recovering from injury? Was he focused on TV appearances? Was he negotiating for a massive payday? Some sources even claimed he demanded up to $30 million, 0 cents, to face Aspinall, a figure more commonly seen in the boxing world than the UFC.
Aspinall, I think they're trying to come to some sort of an agreement. The rumor is that he wants $30 million, and the UFC's going to pay it.
When asked if Jones was ducking Aspinall, Dana White stood firm. Jon Jones has never said, "I don't want to fight that guy." Not once. He even defended Jones' record, referencing the infamous UFC 151 cancellation in 2012 when Jones's fight with Dan Henderson was scrapped after Henderson's injury and a proposed late replacement in Chael Sonnen was declined. White emphasized it was Jones' coach, not Jones, who made that decision.
The only time that anything remotely weird has ever happened with Jon Jones was the time that his in camp did the weird Chael Sonnen thing. We can't fight Chael Sonnen on short notice. Other than that, and that wasn't him, it was his team, and he listened to his team for whatever reason. But that's like the goofiest fucking move in the history of the UFC. Just to talk about that too, when you talk about Jon Jones at that time when that happened, that's the other thing about this sport right now. Not only the fighters are they willing to step up, but the coaches. A lot of these guys go to their coaches and their coaching staff and say, we're being offered this fight on short notice. Jon Jones coaches told him not to do it.
But despite White's defense, the reality is clear. It's been nearly a year since Jones fought, and Aspinall is still stuck, waiting wasting prime fighting years. Even fellow champions are speaking out. Flyweight king Alexandre Pantoja recently called out Jones, accusing him of stalling the heavyweight division and unfairly freezing Aspinall's career. Fans are also growing restless, flooding social media with frustration as International Fight Week approaches with no sign of an official announcement.
When you're the champ, I don't think you have a choice.
What are your thoughts there with Jon and Tom?
If you're the champ, you defend your belt. It's a responsibility. I know your resume is incredible. What you've done is incredible. You're considered the greatest of all time. Yeah, we get that. So if you don't want to fight, just retire. You're done. I don't want to throw shade at him. He's done great things, but when you're the champ, I don't think you have a choice. When you've got an interim champ just standing there waiting for how long?
So what happens if Jon Jones refuses to fight? Dana White didn't mince words. "We'll move on quickly," he said, signaling that the UFC is actively preparing alternative plans. Among those plans could be stripping Jones of the heavyweight title, promoting Aspinall to undisputed champion status, or booking Aspinall in a title bout against another top contender like Cyril Gane. There's even buzz that if Jones vacates the belt, he could pivot to a blockbuster super fight against Alex Pereira, a matchup fans never expected but would definitely pay to see.
He said he's ready to vacate the belt.
He said he doesn't care if you strip it, but he would vacate it.
Fucking crazy. Yeah.
He also called out Francis Ngannou. He said he'd rather fight Francis, which I assume...
Who did?
Jon.
Yeah.
Okay.
If Jon doesn't want to fight, can't make him fight. Listen, if the guy wants to retire and doesn't want to fight, nothing you do. It's none of my business.
Through all this chaos, one fighter remains steady: Tom Aspinall. Despite the lack of clarity, Aspinall has continued training, staying fight-ready, and respecting the UFC's process. He hasn't bashed Jones, hasn't whined publicly, and hasn't demanded anything outrageous. Instead, he said what fans are thinking: if Jon doesn't want to fight, I'm ready to defend the belt against anyone. That quiet dominance speaks volumes. In just 2 fights, Aspinall has become the most feared man in the heavyweight division, and with knockout wins over 2 top contenders in under 1 round each, he's proven that he doesn't just deserve a title shot, he's already the best heavyweight in the world, until proven otherwise.
I don't have any latest on Jones' fight, unfortunately. Just waiting at the minute. I've said yes to the fight, I've agreed to it, obviously, and that's it. I'm just waiting for his side now and the UFC to sort it out. Yeah, I'm just training now. I'm just training and getting everything focused to be as fit and ready as I possibly can, because who knows, they might spring the date on me quick, or they might say, oh, the date's going to be in 6 months. I don't know. But that's always kind of what happens between fights anyway. You never really know when your next one is. I'm just preparing now. There's obviously there's no dates yet. There's an opponent there.
Did you see the petition online from the fans?
Yeah.
What did you just make of that?
Every human on earth was DMing it to me, and yeah, I saw it.
Did you sign the petition?
No, I did not.
So now we wait. Dana White has given Jon Jones 2 weeks. 2 weeks to decide if he wants to defend his belt and face the most dangerous heavyweight in the world, or walk away, leaving behind a fractured legacy and an unfinished reign. The stakes couldn't be higher. This isn't just another fight, it's the biggest potential heavyweight title bout in years. Jon Jones has the chance to silence the critics, prove he's still the king, and take out the fastest rising star the UFC has seen since Francis Ngannou. On the other side, Aspinall has the chance to dethrone the GOAT and become the face of a new era in heavyweight MMA. But it all depends on one decision.
It was kind of crazy how much interest Jon showed in the Francis Ngannou fight. Like, there was some tweets going back and forth. What would happen if he came to you and says, like, I'll fight, but I won't fight Aspinall, I would fight Ngannou? Would you even be interested in that or no?
I don't have Ngannou under contract, and Aspinall's the guy.
Right. If you were put in the position, would you maybe try to get Ngannou back under contract or no?
Probably not.
Will Jon Jones step up and fight? Or will the UFC move on and crown Tom Aspinall the rightful undisputed champion? Fans are divided. Some believe Jones is simply negotiating behind the scenes. Others think he's already mentally retired. Whatever the truth is, Dana White's line in the sand has been drawn. 2 weeks, and then the UFC pulls the plug. Either we get Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall, or we never will.
Do you think Jon is ducking you?
Yes.
Was that
I
Tom?
do. I think I said, yeah, he is. He definitely is. I think that there's just an easier path for him, and I understand it. I do understand it completely. I understand that there's bigger fights out there for him with way less risk and way more money. I understand it, but in all honesty, do I think he's ducking me? Absolutely.
I do have to ask you about these reports of you being an asshole. Are they true?
Sometimes, yeah. Yes, I think everybody is sometimes.
The craziest thing was when Tom won the last fight in Manchester, I go, Tom, what do you want to say to the champ, Jon Jones? And Tom goes, John, you're a really nice fella, and I would love to fight you. And then John's like, this guy's a dick.
That's why it's so funny to hear John saying that. He's like the nicest guy on the planet. You're the exact opposite of your countryman, Michael Bisping. You're a genuinely nice person. You know what I mean?
Let us know your thoughts. Is Jones ducking Aspinall, or is this just smart business? Should he be stripped of the title if he doesn't sign the fight? Comment below, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell. Because whether this fight happens or not, the fallout is going to shake the UFC to its core. This is just the beginning.
Could we expect one more rodeo?
I don't know what life holds as far as fighting and competing. I do feel like I'll be a lifelong martial artist, whether I'm coaching others or taking exhibition matches or things like that. There's a lot of great competition still in the UFC. I do view myself as more than a fighter. And being in my position, I feel like I have a lot more options than a lot of the other fighters as far as the ability to leave and return and things like that. And so right now, I'm just focusing on love, happiness, kindness. We're in the quarter century mark. And this year should be a really special year. So this year, I'm saying yes to more opportunities. Hence me being here, meeting you.
So grateful.
I'm glad that I'm doing this. I've been meeting so many great people. I'm saying yes to more opportunities. I'm traveling more. I'm consciously being kinder to people. And that's just the wave I'm on right now. It's just like love and kindness and peace and focusing on family and focusing on me, my aura.
Jones still hasn't given any real indication that he's willing to fight Tom Aspinall, and honestly, the MMA community is getting tired of waiting. Over the last few weeks, the frustration has reached a new level that we've never seen before in the heavyweight division.
Over 100,000 UFC fans have signed a petition to strip Jon Jones of the heavyweight title. Jon is going to enjoy that there was 100,000 people that are being agitated by him. He needs a little anger. I just have to remind you, I don't believe he's ever said he wouldn't do it. The UFC, but this fight has been very unique. Whatever Jon and what's said on a phone call, it stays right there. Now that's called nice Dana. Nice Dana gets a lot of fight done. Mad Dana gets every fight done. You will know when Mad Dana arrives, when you start getting revealed to you what was said on these calls. That's the clue to you that this date is sneaking up on us a little faster than the ink is drying on the pen. But as that date gets closer, if those bout agreements don't start coming closer together, you're going to see Mean Dana. But either way, you're going to see Jon and Tom fight.
But here's the real question that's got everyone talking. Can the UFC actually strip Jon Jones of his heavyweight title? This isn't just about one fight anymore, fight fans. This is about the entire future of how the UFC handles their champions and whether anyone, even the greatest of all time, is bigger than the sport itself.
I think fans are dreaming about Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall. That's the fight I think they're dreaming about.
Yes.
I think that if Stipe wins the fight or Jon Jones wins the fight, the way that both of those guys are wired, I think they fight Aspinall. So we'll see.
We're about to break down exactly what's happening behind the scenes, why Dana White might be forced into the most controversial decision in UFC history, and what this could mean for the entire heavyweight division going forward. Trust me, you do not want to miss this. Here's the news that's got the entire MMA community in an absolute frenzy. Jon Jones is still refusing to fight Tom Aspinall, and his latest comments are absolutely shocking.
Great, get off.
Sorry, it's a Jones thing, Tom.
In a recent interview on Deep Cut with Vic Blaydes, Jones dropped this bombshell. I don't know what life holds as far as fighting and competing. I do view myself as more than a fighter, and being in my position, I feel like I have a lot more options than a lot of the other fighters as far as the ability to leave and return.
Be a great mentor to some of these young guys that are coming up, and make it to heaven.
Could we expect one more rodeo?
I don't know what life holds as far as fighting and competing. I do feel like I'll be a lifelong martial artist, whether I'm coaching others or taking exhibition matches or things like that. There's a lot of great competition still in the UFC.
But here's where it gets even crazier. Jones admitted he finds Tom Aspinall so annoying that he doesn't even want to do business with him. Listen to this. If I'm being completely honest, I feel like Tom's been such an ass plate that I don't want to do business with him. His fans have been so annoying, he's just an ass plate, you know?
There's a part of it that does, but if I'm being completely honest, I feel like Tom's been such an asshole that I don't want to do business with him. His fans have been so annoying. And obviously, you don't get this far in a career being affected by fans. But he's just an asshole. He's 30, so he's from this influencer generation where you hop online and the T-shirt sales and all that. I'm past that type of stuff. I'm like, bro, if you had a little bit more respect, then maybe we could have worked something out. I just don't even want to do business with him. You know, at the end of the day, this is a business. And fighting me gives him an opportunity to change his life forever. And I don't even want to give him the opportunity. He just played his cards wrong with me personally. I'm 3 years from being a 40-year-old grown man. Going through the whole shebang with him, I'd rather not do.
This isn't just about money anymore, folks. This is personal. And while Jones is playing mind games, Tom Aspinall has been absolutely destroying everyone in his path, staying ready and literally begging for this fight. The heavyweight division has been held hostage for over a year now, and fans are reaching their breaking point, which brings us to our next shocking development.
Who's next big heavyweight star?
Tom Aspinall, the guy who
Of
just
course, who
won
just
the
won.
interim title. He's
Yeah.
phenomenal, and he is again the next the next advancement of the evolution of the sport.
How so?
Well, because he can do everything. That guy's got elite jiu-jitsu. He's got elite takedowns. His
Yeah.
striking is outstanding. I mean, he knocked out Sergei, who's the scariest fucking striker in all of MMA.
Yeah.
And he knocked him out in the first round. And the way he did it was just picture perfect. And he did it with a fucked up back. You watch Aspinall, like, I knew Aspinall was going to have a speed advantage because he's faster than any heavyweight.
Yeah.
And that's something that his coach drilled into him when he was young.
Speed.
Like, be fast. Like, you got to be fast. That's what's going to
Yes.
separate you from everybody else.
Speed kills.
Speed. And he's a giant dude, 260 plus pounds, but he moves like a fast young guy.
Yeah.
Like a light guy. And so that's what's, and he's also just so well rounded. And he's just beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, that was really the first big test of his career.
This is where things get absolutely insane. UFC fans have had enough, and they're taking matters into their own hands in a way we've never seen before. A petition to strip Jon Jones of his heavyweight title has exploded past 150,000 signatures, and it's growing by the hour. We're talking about the fastest growing MMA petition in history. The petition reads, Jon Jones is now the longest reigning champion in UFC heavyweight history and has only fought 2 times in that period. There is a clear interim champion, Tom Aspinall, who has defended his interim championship belt. Jones refuses to fight him.
There is a signature to strip Jon Jones.
I
A
saw
petition.
that. Did you sign it?
That's
You
over
signed it, didn't you?
70,000.
You signed it,
signatures.
didn't you?
I did.
I'm gonna search the database.
I didn't search it.
I'm gonna find your email on there.
But dude, that's 70,000 signatures.
Man, it's annoying.
But here's the kicker. Tom Aspinall himself shared this petition on his Instagram. The interim champion is literally promoting a petition to strip his own division's champion. When has that ever happened in UFC history?
This game will test everything. Your body, your mind, your patience. You don't get here alone. My family, my team, my pack. Every day we show up. Quiet, focused, ready. A heavyweight mind. It's not just fight night. It's every single moment before it. That's a champion.
The numbers don't lie, people. In just the first week, it hit 20,000 signatures. But in the second week, it exploded past 150,000. Social media is going absolutely nuclear with comments like,
Why isn't Jones stripped? Why an interim title? Because Jon Jones brings in a lot of pay-per-view sales, so they're not going to take the belt from him like they did to Jamal Hill and other people like that. It's not hard to understand, is it?
Strip him already. Make Gain vs. Aspinall in the UK. We've had enough of this. He took 3 years off to prepare for heavyweight. How much time does he need? Strip him. The question everyone's asking is, will the UFC actually listen to the fans? Let's break down why this fight is so important and why experts are calling Tom Aspinall the most dangerous heavyweight Jon Jones could ever face. According to multiple UFC analysts, Tom Aspinall isn't just another challenger. He's evolution personified. Here's what makes him terrifying. Aspinall moves like a middleweight but hits like a heavyweight. His average fight time? Just 2 minutes and 2 seconds. That's not a typo. He's finishing elite heavyweights in barely over 2 minutes.
When you look at Jon Jones, would you say it's a money thing or not wanting to fight you thing, or do you think it's a combination?
I think I'm a bad matchup for him, to be honest.
In my opinion, I think it's a huge risk. You're younger, you're athletic, you hit hard, you pose problems. We don't have much data on you. Okay, if I was to fight Tom Aspinall, okay, what do I need to do? Okay, he's very fast, very athletic, light on his toes. He blitzes across the void. So if he gets across the void, can I take that shot? A lot of people have not been able to take that shot. So if he gets across that void and I get hit, I might go fucking down. That happens, you become the biggest fucking star ever. You just slayed the GOAT. Or maybe he wants $30-40 million.
Unlike other heavyweights, Aspinall has elite jiu-jitsu, knockout power, and incredible wrestling. His dad owns a jiu-jitsu gym, and Tom's been training since he was 2 years old. Youth and size. At 31, he's 6 years younger than Jones, and at 260 pounds, he's got a significant size advantage while maintaining incredible speed. But here's what's really got people talking. Jones has never fought anyone like Tom Aspinall. He dominated light heavyweights for years, then beat a 42-year-old Stipe Miocic who hadn't fought in years. Aspinall represents uncharted territory.
Just say hello. Just say hello. How are you? Good, man. Nice to meet you too. I would hope so. I would hope so.
Respect, man.
All the best.
Respect.
All the best.
Do a quick picture.
Sure.
Yeah?
Let's get it.
A face off.
No,
okay. No problem. No problem. I would love to have the honor one day. I would love to have the honor.
Maybe one day.
Hope so, man. All the best. All the best.
How was that?
Yeah, it was good, mate. All peaceful. I want to fight him, but I don't want to fight in an event. I want to fight him. I want to have a UFC fight with him. So I just asked if he'll give me the opportunity one day. He said he's healing up good, so we'll see. We'll see what he does.
One expert put it perfectly. Tom Aspinall is a nightmare matchup. He's younger, faster, sharper. He moves like a middleweight but hits like a heavyweight. He's shown composure under pressure, knockout power, elite grappling, and a calmness that makes him scary. The scary part? Jones seems to know this, which might explain his reluctance. Now for the million-dollar question that everyone's asking, can the UFC actually strip Jon Jones of his heavyweight title? The short answer is yes, absolutely they can. Here's the legal and precedent breakdown.
People care. There is a signature to strip Jon Jones. A
saw
petition.
that. Did you sign?
That's
you
over
signed it,
70,000.
You signed it, didn't you?
I didn't.
I'm gonna search the database.
I didn't search it.
I'm gonna find your email on there.
The UFC has complete authority to strip champions for inactivity. Their contracts give them this power, and they've used it before. Jones has been heavyweight champion since March 2023, but has only fought twice in that entire period. That's unprecedented inactivity for a champion. But here's where it gets complicated. Dana White recently guaranteed that Jones would fight in 2025, saying, "Jon Jones will be fighting in 2025, 100%. However, White also admitted there's a deadline. If we don't get the fight done, we move on and we make another fight. 100%. If we don't get the fight done by summer, we move on."
When you say the Tom-Jon fight would be the biggest of all time, you're talking even bigger than the Brock Lesnar days at heavyweight as well.
Be the biggest heavyweight fight in UFC history by a long shot.
When you look at that fight stylistically, right, as you said, Jon, still amazing, still incredibly varied attacks, great IQ, but it would seem that Tom's advantage would be in the speed. When you look at that fight, how do you break it down and how do you think that could play out?
I have no idea. I mean, I don't know what Jon's going to do. Jon's one of those guys that I was saying earlier has the highest fight IQ. He's like fucking Elon Musk in the octagon, okay? This guy is brilliant in there, and the things that he pulls off, like you didn't see any of the spinning elbows tonight that he does normally. he did all different shit tonight. I'm sure he sat down and watched Stipe's tape.
So the UFC has essentially given Jones until summer 2025 to commit or lose his title. That's roughly 3-4 months from now. The UFC is losing millions by not making this fight. It could be the biggest heavyweight fight in UFC history. And every day they wait, they're hemorrhaging money and fan interest.
Jon Jones versus the heavyweight fight will happen. Just relax. I'll announce that soon. Wait, what do you got? What do you got? Everybody happy? Anybody mad? Everybody good?
So what's going to happen? Let me break down the 3 most likely scenarios. Gilbert Burns believes Jones will eventually cave to pressure and financial incentives. As Burns put it, the check will be big enough. I'm telling you guys right now, that fight is happening. The UFC might offer Jones that $30 million 0-cent FU money he's demanding.
Or Aspinall?
Aspinall.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Aspinall. I think they're trying to come to some sort of an agreement. The rumor is that he wants $30 million, and that the UFC is going to pay it. Hopefully, I hope they pay it.
I agree with him. Him and Pereira would be the Pereira.
Yeah.
Sorry, would be the fight everyone wants to see. Yeah,
perhaps
because he's been so dominant. That kid.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, if it's going to happen, they're both 37. It should probably happen soon. But Jon is, the heavyweight champion of the world, and Pereira has challengers in the light heavyweight division.
If Jones continues to refuse or retire, the UFC strips him and makes Aspinall vs. Cyril Gane for the undisputed title. This would be unprecedented, but might be necessary to save the division. Jones has hinted at retirement multiple times, saying he has options other fighters don't have. He might just walk away with his legacy intact rather than risk it against Aspinall. Suggest that hopes are dwindling within Team Aspinall, with Jones remaining silent despite the UFC's willingness to break their pay structure. The heavyweight division is in complete limbo, and something has to give soon. This is the biggest story in MMA right now, and it's changing by the day. Will Jon Jones finally step up and face Tom Aspinall? Will the UFC strip their greatest champion? Or will we see another Francis Ngannou situation where the biggest fight in the division never happens?
You put 2 guys in a room and who walks out?
What's up, guys? How we doing?
How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing all right.
How you guys in? But
Hey, I'm not going to do this interview. You don't want to do it? No, because it's going to be an Aspinall Fest. I'm not doing it.
What do you think should happen? Drop your predictions in the comments below. Should the UFC strip Jones or wait for him to decide? Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell because this story is far from over. When Jones makes his next move, you'll be the first to know.
It's not Jon Jones this year. I go through the ranks. I heard rumors of Cyril Gane and Almeida fighting. The winner of that fight could be interesting. The other name that comes up is Volkov. It's been 3 years. He's looked really good.
Yep.
Do you agree that those guys are options if the Jones fight doesn't happen?
Yeah, same as always. I'll fight anybody. Just send the option my way, and I will say yes. I'm pretty easygoing in that regard. I'm here to fight people. I'm not really here to do. I mean, we've been doing a bit of media stuff recently, but that's only because I'm not fighting. Like, give me a fight, I will say yes, and that's it. The opponents, regardless.
I need to shoot.
Jones, this is your official warning. What you're about to hear might completely change how you view one of the greatest fighters in UFC history. The gloves are off, the fans are furious, and Tom Aspinall sent Jon Jones the clearest message yet. From record-breaking petitions to cryptic social media warnings, we're breaking down every angle of this heavyweight chaos. So buckle up, fight fans, because this story has more twists than a Jon Jones takedown sequence.
And what about this? There are people who have started a petition to strip Jon Jones. We're now at 115,135 as of maybe an hour or two ago when we took this screen grab.
This was actually, we took a first screen grab an hour ago, and it was at like 113, 114, and then an hour later it was over 115.
Okay.
Wow, I signed it.
Yeah, so, but here's the thing. Jon does also bring up a good point. If Jon told the UFC like 2 months ago, hey, I'm not interested, it's no longer on him.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? So, like, you remember one time I sat here and I said the UFC is not to blame? And I said that because they met the number. But now if he tells them, hey, I'm not interested, all right, you could say, well, you're to blame because maybe you told them, hey, if you meet this number, I'm fighting. And then you could say, all right, UFC is now back to blame because he told them 2 months ago, I'm out. Why didn't you give Tom Aspinall a fight? There's this whole thing. Now, I heard Dana White say recently, like, look, we got to give these guys 3 fights a year. Remember we talked about this yesterday to a degree?
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, I guess they can come out and say, look, we could have given Tom an interim fight, but he told us he didn't want that. So that's considered turning it down. The whole thing is messy. There is no black and white sort of breakdown of it all. But the point is, I think the world has spoken. Look at that petition. That's a crazy number. Look at what everyone has said. Look at what UFC employees like Daniel Cormier have said, saying, like, couldn't we just move on? Like, no one's benefiting from this. If he's truly out, let's move on. But again, one more time, until they truly need to move on, they don't have to move on.
Let's start with the numbers that have Dana White's phone buzzing nonstop. The petition to strip Jon Jones of his UFC heavyweight championship has absolutely exploded past 140,000 signatures, and it's climbing every single hour.
We will not be ignored any longer. There is a petition out there to strip Jon Jones of the undisputed UFC heavyweight belt. It has 100,000 signatures. I need you guys to understand how crazy this is. 100,000 signatures of the UFC fan base uniting behind the idea that Jon Jones should not have the undisputed heavyweight world championship, and it should be given to Tom Aspinall, or Tom Aspinall should be able to move on.
Let's start with the numbers that have Dana White's phone buzzing nonstop. The petition to strip Jon Jones of his UFC heavyweight championship has absolutely exploded past 140,000 signatures, and it's climbing every single hour. Now, let me paint you the picture here. This isn't just some random internet complaint. We're talking about nearly 150,000 dedicated UFC fans who have officially said enough is enough to Jon Jones holding up an entire division.
The UFC fans are finally striking back. That's right. 100,000 signatures have been signed on a petition to strip Jon Jones of the UFC heavyweight belt.
The petition reads, and I quote, "There is a clear interim champion, Tom Aspinall, who has defended his interim championship belt. Jones refuses to fight him. We as fans must let Dana White know it is time to strip Jon Jones of the heavyweight title. He clearly has no intentions of fighting anytime soon." But here's what's really wild. This petition gained 25,000 signatures in just 24 hours. When MMA journalist Ariel Helwani mentioned it had 115,000 signatures, it jumped to over 123,000 within hours. That's the kind of momentum that makes UFC executives very, very nervous. And Jon Jones? He's been mocking it on social media, posting laughing emojis and telling fans their desperation is incredibly lucrative. But here's the thing. When 140,000 plus people are calling for your title to be stripped, maybe it's time to listen.
There is a signature to strip Jon Jones
I
a
saw
petition.
that. Did you sign it?
It's
You
over
signed it, didn't you?
70,000.
You signed it, didn't you?
I did.
I'm gonna search the database.
I didn't search it.
I'm gonna
didn't
find
sign
your
it.
email on there.
But dude, that's 70,000 signatures.
Now, this next part is where things get absolutely brutal. Daniel Cormier, Jon Jones's longtime rival and someone who knows him better than almost anyone, just dropped a psychological bombshell that has everyone talking. According to DC, Jon Jones isn't avoiding Tom Aspinall because of money, because of timing, or because of some master plan. No, Cormier thinks Jones is terrified of one specific thing, getting knocked out cold. Here's what Cormier said, and listen carefully. With Aspinall, he could potentially get knocked out, like legitimately knocked out and put on his back and out cold. And I just don't know that he wants to have that visual of him in the world.
And you know what I think a big worry might be for him? Because with Aspinall, he could potentially get knocked out. Like legitimately knocked out and put on his back and out cold. And I just don't know that he wants to have that visual of him in the world. Because I've seen myself get beat, and I'm like, God, that's such a horrible visual every time.
Think about that for a second. We're talking about Jon Jones, the guy who's been champion for over 800 days, who's arguably the greatest fighter of all time, potentially being afraid of a knockout. But here's where Cormier gets even more brutal. He says Jones' ego won't let him retire without fighting Aspinall either, because, quote, the visual and the lasting thought would be that he ran from him, and I don't know his ego could handle that he ran from someone.